What's going on, guys, and welcome to this week's Theory Thursday. Today we're going to discuss more about Bidybab in depth because we don't really know about the sister location animatronics lore-wise, and we're going to try and solve that in this video. Like where does Bidybab come from? Was it in previous locations? Are they the souls of the other dead children? So this one's going to be really interesting. But I'm not alone. Who do I have this week?
Of course, you've got Ryan.
Other Ryan.
Razzbowski.
And let's get straight into it.
So the biggest mystery that is still plaguing people's minds is why is there exactly 7 of these new characters? Because a lot of people are saying that there might just be 1 and the other 6 are hallucinations. But there's a big debate still arising amongst the community as to still why 7 is the number chosen. So, guys, what do you actually think?
Well, obviously I was on holiday when this image first appeared, and I thought to myself, Scott, I can't believe you've done this. I don't know, like when I first saw this, I was like, I didn't know what to think about it. I was like, okay, at first, obviously, I think Raz said in the previous episode, they could be hallucinations, or they could simply be like, I don't know, an army of these little bidybabs. They're like little minions or something like that. But like, why there's 7 of them? I don't know. I think there might be more. I think they're like, I don't know. I think there's an army of these people, to be fair. But it's hard to tell at this point. Obviously, in Five Nights at Freddy's, there was 5 children murdered, 5 souls occupying, 5 animatronic suits. I mean, if this is actually 7 little animatronics and there are souls inside, then how many freaking kids has this guy killed? It's insane.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that as well, guys, at the end. Sorry, just to cut in, Raz.
No. That's the thing I was going to say. That's the main point of this episode, is discussing how the lore fits in. As we know already, how the animatronics have been reanimated or reincarnated, whatever you want to refer to it as. So there's 7 of them. There are clearly 7 of them, and the one with the eyes lit up at the front, I think, is the only one that is perhaps is there. I think the others might be hallucinations, or at least this one in the front is in charge of the rest if they are all animatronics. And they are all part of the same entity, if you will. So as for 7 of them, the only connection I can make at the moment is that there are traditionally 7 nights over the 5 Nights of Freddy's. Even though it's called 5 Nights of Freddy's, there are usually 7 nights. So is one going to be added each night as we go along? So by the time we get to the hardest difficulty, then we have got all 7 of them coming at once and causing various different distractions here, there, and everywhere. They might come at different hours of the day, so maybe one of them is the start of the night, and then you get one coming at the next hour, until we obviously get to the 6 a.m. That only has 6 of them in there, but maybe one is added towards the end, so maybe 2 start off, and to make it a little bit more difficult on the final nights. 7 significance in anything else? Maybe there's some sort of significance in Bible passages or that to do with the number 7. I know it's considered a lucky number in a lot of countries. Or an unlucky number probably in this case, but 7, I have no idea other than the 7 nights what significance there is for so many of them. Yeah. Other than the fact it looks quite neat on the screen because you've got the one at the front, so it's almost like a triangle of them coming out towards the sides. You've got 3 on either side of him. Yeah.
It's the fact that they're all identical as well, that they could go with the hallucination side. If they had like little different, like, I don't know, like tweaks to them or something, like different eye colours or something, then it would go with the fact that they are all separate ones. But I don't know, like, I'm just going to go with the theory, unless they're all grouped together as one animatronic roaming around doing stuff, then I think it will be too much in one like game to have 7 of those as well as the other animatronics. I just think it's way too much to control over if you're the player. But again, even if there was hallucinations as well, that would also be difficult. So
well, it's I don't know. It's like we were saying in the previous episode, if they are hallucinations on the camera, like we had Springtrap in FNAF 3, if the one real one had glowing eyes, so you could quite clearly see it in the dark. But I mean, if you're flicking through the cameras quickly and you're not paying enough attention, then maybe you will miss the glowing eyes fact of it.
This is what I think, okay? I think there are 7. There's legit 7. I'm going to go with the theory that these are being made at that location, but only one of them is active, and that's why that's lit up. Only, like, all the other ones are just dead, like, just still. And only that one animatronic has been, like, possessed by Ennard. Ennard chose that one to try and kill us. That's what I think, and that would be really cool actually to see. Like, let's say if you see a parts room and you see all the robots being built in there, and you see all the Ennards there like in line, and only one of them like can move from that location.
Yeah. Or
I see.
Going off that would be awesome if there's like, if he could only possess one at a time kind of thing. Like you have to stop one, and then he goes inside another one. You have to stop that one. If you know what I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I think like the only thing I can properly muster from this actual teaser is that I think Scott likes to tell us things through these each time. So the fact that he's chosen to show us all of these characters probably shows that the fact the 7 means something significant. And the only thing I can really see these guys being again is, as we said before, these guys can't jump scare you unless you want to kind of get the ends of your fingers slightly bitten and not actually die and walk out of the place fine. I think what these guys are going to do is definitely control what potentially might be the 7 cameras around the establishment. Because then each of these guys could slightly obstruct the view of each of those cameras, and it might make sense for then you guys, like, we have to fend off the animatronics, and then on the side as well, we also have to think about going over and doing something to keep these guys from going more and more onto the cameras. And, or maybe there's like 7 hot spots where the animatronics will trail through out of the X amount of cameras, and that's what I can see these being. That's like, when I see these guys, all I think is Freddles, and they were like, they were an alerting thing, so we know what to do. We had to get rid of them. It was like a job. We had to get rid of them before the impending doom. Again, I think it's going to involve the cameras and these guys.
The next section, we're going to be talking about Bidybab and how these animatronics are going to fit into the Five Nights at Freddy's storyline. So, Dawko, what do you think? How do these creatures, do you classify them as 1, 7? How do they fit into the original lore? How they are made? What do you think, my man?
I'm still going to go with the theory that this is like a factory slash place where they're stored for the parties to go to. And I think this is the factory line, like a place where they're just all in line together. And I'm going to go with the theory again that Ennard, like part of me is in everybody, has possessed one of these animatronics to go after us. That's all I can really say is that I still think that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of like the lore and stuff like that, we can definitely see a connection again with these guys and Baby, as we discussed last week, saying how, the names correlate. Baby and then Bidybab might mean little baby, and we see as well the posters and things like that in the office, seeing these guys hanging off of Baby.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely a connection there, and whether it's the connection between these guys and Baby, or actually Baby and these guys, which it seems to be almost like she's overseeing them, I don't know, man. It's a really hard one to pinpoint whether or not it might be these guys that when they move or they do something, they might influence Baby to move, or if Baby might influence these guys to move and start firing up and things. But again, the only thing really I can think because they're so small, like I've said in the past as well, Baby's face still looks quite big in the background, and when you consider her to be the smallest animatronic on stage out of all of them, these guys are literally going to be like this, sort of very, very tiny. They can do the smaller things, get into the smaller crannies, nooks and things like that. They might, unless they can actually equip themselves onto Baby, you see them kind of hanging on to her. Yeah. I guess that could be the only other idea. They might hold on to her, maybe. I don't know how that could potentially influence her.
Yeah.
But as well, we've got the message that says don't hold it against us. So as Lewis said, Ennard with the kind of the little me and everybody.
Yeah.
Of course, these guys have all been manufactured probably the same way.
Yeah.
Maybe Ennard was like a test one for all we know. Chucked in the back, kind of throwing in the back all the wires and things like that. It almost do you know what the Ennard character reminds me of the most? It's almost like, a tree stump that's been chopped off, but the roots kind of grow and grow and grow, and they kind of manifest themselves on the whole surrounding and things like that. It's almost like that, and the wires are there to signify the growth, almost like it's plugging itself into all these different things to maybe manipulate these guys.
Yeah, it goes well with the don't hold it against us, like you said. Like, it's not their fault. They're being possessed by Ennard, so they can't help it.
Yeah,
and it's not like you don't know what we've been through, whereas instead that shows there's some backstory. For these guys, they might have just been factory new. They look, on the surface they look, I was going to say friendly, but now I say that very cautiously. But they don't look as angry as the other animatronics, shall we say. They've got blunt teeth, and they just don't look as kind of all padded out and evil, like the sharp teeth and the strange things like that.
Yeah. See, I personally believe that what's happened here is that this is definitely like some kind of factory where animatronics go to get fixed up, maybe, or for storage, for parties and stuff like that. But I believe that Ennard may have been possessed at, like, he may have been sent out full, for example, at a party. Something may have occurred at this party. And
what about if this teaser? I've just realized, I don't know how we all didn't see this before. This might be something. But what about if this relates to the whole birthday party props accessories? Because if you look at this place now, there's balloons and like it looks like some kind of curtain in the back. What about if this is a party setup?
Well, this is where the whole Chica's party comes in. That's the only reference in the source code, is it not, for an actual event, is it not? Chica's party world is the only thing. If I can't remember all the lines of source code, but I think that's the main thing that we were talking about. Something significant seems to have happened at this Chica's party. So as you say, there are no balloons. There's nothing in the trailer, but on each and every single one of these teasers so far that's been on Scott Games, there's been balloons. There was balloons in Baby. There was balloons with Ennard, and now there are balloons with bidybab. So this is obviously some event is clearly happened at this party. Or
occurring, but like throughout the kind of teasers that we're seeing.
Yeah. It is the one thing that I want to say. It does seem like they have got some sort of soul inside these. Just from the line. Don't hold it against us. A robot wouldn't do that. Robots can't think or have feelings, or because this is a plea. This is a don't hold it against us. We can't control what we're doing now. Or what we're gonna do, so they obviously have some sort of feeling. So if it does suggest that they either have one soul shared between them all, or there's only one of them active, the one at the front that has the soul. That's the interesting thing for me. It is suggesting that they have some sort of thoughts and feelings and alike. Because as you said, you don't know what we've been through. That is also suggesting the backstory that these animatronics have feelings, thoughts, and they were once human. So. Have they got 7 souls inside them? Or is it just the one? I'm thinking it's just the one. I don't think somebody's been murdered. 7 things have been murdered and stuffed inside the suits. Again, it goes back to the metaphor for the Give Life minigame back that we saw in the death screens in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, when the marionette was popping the souls inside the suits to make Foxy Bonnie, etc. So the souls have gone into the front suit. The soul is in the front one with the eyes lit open, and it doesn't matter that it's going to be shorter than the rest of them. Until we see a human beside them, that we can't really tell the size of them. I'm sure it said in the silver eyes how big they were. They might have been 8 foot, but I might just be pulling that number out of my rear end. But they were definitely taller than humans. The animatronics, because they're on stage. Definitely. They need to be bigger than life to show to the whole audience and that.
Of course, yeah.
So going back to what Raz just said about his theory that bidybab may have 7 souls or just 1, we're going to discuss about that. So Ryan, what do you think?
It's difficult to tell, like, on the surface, if they will or will not have the souls, because you've got to think these 7 guys plus Ennard plus the other 4 on stage. It seems to be adding up almost to like too much. I think the only thing that really persuades me to think that there might be souls is the quote at the bottom, which says, don't hold it against us, because that could be, obviously, from their perspective. Maybe it's the souls within kind of saying that, but it's just difficult because, like, these guys didn't appear in the main trailer showing the animatronics that obviously are going to cause the most mayhem. And the only thing, again, that I can contrast with that thought, which is that these guys didn't appear in the trailer, so they're obviously not important and not going to have anything for the lore, is the fact that Golden Freddy also never appeared in the trailer, and yet he turned out to have loads of significance. So maybe these guys are a bit more secretive, and like the only thing really I can think about these guys potentially serving, if they're not even going to be like an animatronic, because we keep saying that 7 is too many, maybe we need to see these guys to understand a backstory of something that happened, like an event. So maybe as long as we see them, we can almost link them to something. But that's, I think, my thoughts, and whether or not the soul's inside, it's extremely difficult to tell from just one single image at the minute.
Yeah, true.
Well, see, it's hard once again. Obviously, like 7 souls or 1 soul. I personally believe that what's happened is Ennard came from a party somewhere, and something's happened at that party in which he's came back, and he's like a virus now. He's like possessed or something, and he is now. Going through all these animatronics, possessing them each, maybe not even with human life for all we know. It could be just like he has the control over them almost, and like
they say that this is in the future. Like, well, at least everyone's saying that, and you know, even amongst in today's society, everyone's got this fear factor about what about if we create an AI that can learn from itself, and then it can learn an exponential rate, and it will always be smarter than people, and then can create a race of itself, and exactly. Yeah, I mean, like.
I mean, I don't know if they're asked, like, because I don't know if Scott's going to go through the whole route of, like, killing children again. I don't know. I think it would be awesome if he went, like, because it would just be, like, it would be predictable, if you know what I mean. Like, oh, these children in these, but maybe they're not children. Maybe they're just being controlled by a higher being almost.
Yeah.
If he goes down that route, like, it's pretty interesting what you were saying there. It just totally changes the lore. Like, unless he wants to go in that direction, but it's totally changing everything that was before, because it was all to do with the souls of these reanimated children that they've come to get the Night Guard. That's the whole. That was the whole premise. That's why we're getting attacked each and every single night. Whether it's because we're the Purple Man, whether it's because we're the Phone Guy. There are so many. We still don't know a great deal about all that stuff. There's still so much mystery in there that we might find out more about it in this game. But I do like the Ennard idea. But I think they've got to have souls in them. I definitely don't see 7 souls for the bidybabs. It's one or nothing. But I think it's one. One soul controls them all, and it's the one at the front. Just because it's that line. It's not necessarily their line, because Baby is in the background. Don't hold it against us. But it's got it's them. It's their line. I think it's their line, or it's at least referring to them and Baby as a whole unit.
Yeah.
But I think there's a soul. Baby might even be some sort of mother, and that is that's her child. They've been killed together. Because say the Purple Man killed the child and the mother witnessed it, he's got to take the mum out as well. You know what I'm saying? He can't leave any witnesses around. So maybe Baby is the mother. It might go even darker. And Baby's his wife, and the bidybabs are his children. Like, it could get really, really dark. I mean, everybody's saying that Five Nights at Freddy's a children's game. It's only babies like it, but it's dark as hell. It's about murder. It's about murder. It's about corpse getting reanimated. It's about mucus and eyes. It's blood. The suits smell of death. Like. It's
the ultimate horror. It's the ultimate horror story, just without the visuals, isn't it? It's like you just don't see it.
Just because you've not got blood, just because you've not got gore, just because each of the animatronics isn't dripping with blood, doesn't mean it's horrifically scary. And the story makes up for it. The story backs all of that up. On the surface, yes, a lot of the fan base is of a younger generation, but it's scary as hell still. And
I guess you could link as well, like with FNAF, that's a kids game. We still saw the mangle sort of hanging. That was a pretty damn disturbing teaser as well.
And the whole Foxy.exe, that was like the whole of the update 2 was massively more in line with how the FNAF games are. It's a lot darker.
Much more dark. Halloween.
The ending of it. The creator was spoilers if you haven't played it, but the creator died. There was blood on the desk, unless you're telling me he fell in a bowl of tomato soup and it spilled everywhere, then he died. You know what I'm saying? So, I think the bidybabs, there's one soul in them, and this is gonna be dark as hell.
Yeah.
Because they're all new. They're all new animatronics, and we potentially haven't seen these guys die in any of the storylines yet. So the death toll's rising. The KD ratio of the purple guy is rising. They're gonna sign him up to Optic, man.
I guess the only other way, like, just to end, is maybe the souls of the children weren't stuffed into these suits, but perhaps the souls will possess these suits still.
Yes, that's
true.
So
rather than there being like a physical element of the kids physically having to be pushed away inside of these things, it might just haunt the suits more. Poltergeist, ghost haunting as like an idea. But the murders still did happen. We just don't hear any of the backstory about these suits particularly having things inside of them as such.
But that does link back to Ennard as well. So if they are inside them and Ennard is possessing them in any way, shape, or form, then they're apologizing. They're like, I can't control this because I may have had control over the suit before, but the virus, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's what I think. I definitely think one is possessed, and that one is definitely Ennard to me. And it could go back to the FNAF 2 theory, if any of you guys remember, is that the old animatronics parts were put into the toy animatronics, and that's why they're all like whack jobs, if you've heard that theory before, and that's why they're attacking us as well, because they've been like hijacked by the old animatronics parts, which makes them go all crazy. And that's what the Ennard teaser quote is saying, like, there's a piece of me in everybody. And I still think that they're being possessed by Ennard 100%, and I think Scott's going to explain obviously in the game, I don't know whether through mini games, why Ennard is doing this in the first place.
Yes.
Who is Ennard? Why is he? If he has got a soul in it, Ennard, why? Like, who the hell is it? Because we've never seen this guy before, and we could go to MatPat's theory where he says that Ennard's the puppet. And if it is the puppet, then we'll just have to see why.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. That was this week's Theory Thursday, where we discussed more about Bidybab in depth and all about the souls, and especially the importance of Ennard as well. So, once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. The boys' links will be in the description below. They're really awesome, so make sure you check them out. Please do. They're lovely. And Ryan's got a Charmeleon, so don't check him out.
I've got 100 candy ready to upgrade.
Don't check him out.
Watch this outro pursuit. I'm gonna load it up. I'm gonna load this up.
But thank you very much for watching, guys, and we will of course see you all next week. Bye, Charmeleon.